How's it going, guys? Dragonstar Renders here, back with another What If video, and this time we're going to be continuing a series that's, well, all about me. That being, what if Dragonstar was in Dragon Ball Part 5, and if you guys haven't seen the other parts, well, I'll link a full playlist above, and subscribe while you're at it. With that said, let's get into the video. Last time we left off with Raditz's arrival and defeat. However, some major changes happened in the story, such as Raditz surviving and being captured in a jar, while Goku served the same fate as canon, meaning that he still gets to travel Snake Way and gets to train with King Kai. Meanwhile, on Earth, while I was at Kami's lookout, not alone however, up there with me was Piccolo Jr., Krillin, Tenshinhan, Chatsu, Yamcha, but most importantly, Gohan. All of us would be growing stronger at a pretty fast rate, but after 6 months, it was time for us to use the hyperbolic time chamber, and I had all intentions of bringing Gohan in with me, but Piccolo steps in front of me telling me that I'd grow better by myself, especially if something wasn't holding me back. With that said, Piccolo and Gohan are now the ones going into the hyperbolic time chamber, while I'm letting Chi-Chi know what's going on. Obviously, Chi-Chi would be pissed because, well, I'm aging her son a year, but after smacking me a couple times, she understands what I'm doing. Leaving Chi-Chi's house, I had one more pit stop to make before entering the time chamber myself, and that was at Capsule Corp. Walking into the big building, I had to find Bulma, and I actually found her, well, where I should have known I would have found her, that being in the lab. Bulma was obviously curious on why I was there, but I had a big favor to ask her. If she could actually create a gravity room for training, even telling her that I could help after my day of training in the time chamber. Bulma agrees to help me, plus she doesn't mind looking at me, so I guess that's just a plus. Anyway, I fly back up to the lookout waiting for Piccolo and Gohan to leave the chamber, and when they do, their rise in power was incredible. Everyone was shot back. Both Gohan and Piccolo actually surpassed Raditz in this time. Seeing this, I would actually ask Piccolo if he would like to come in and train with me, and Piccolo doesn't talk, he just re-enters the chamber, so I follow him in. With that said, me and Piccolo started training with him outclassing me by a large amount at first, but for about 6 months I'm taking a beating until one day, my power skyrocketed. Shockingly, I would actually end up having a good edge against Piccolo by the end of the training. However, I'll skip to the end of it because, well, nothing really impactful happens as the rest of the Z Fighters use the chamber as well. After a while, I actually do end up staying at Capsule Corp to build the gravity room with Bulma, as Bulma quickly finds out that I'm more than just a strong fighter but a pretty decent engineer too. Between the two of us, we actually get the gravity room up and running in under a week. So now my day is train on lookout, train in the gravity room, and sleep. And ooh, thanks to actually being in Capsule Corp, I actually get some pretty good chefs to cook me some food too, so that's also another big plus of being at Capsule Corp. But I think now enough time has passed and the Saiyans should be arriving any time now, but power levels are important going into this fight, so I'm going to state them here. Myself, Dragonstar is at 6,000, Piccolo is at 5,500, Gohan is at a whopping 4,000, Krillin is at 2,000, Tenshinhan is at 2,200, Yamcha is at 1,950, and Chatsu is at 700. With that being covered, let's get into Nappa and Vegeta's arrival on the planet. Filling both of their keys, we all were awaiting them when they arrived on the planet. And although things typically start the same, Vegeta and Nappa both questioned for the Dragon Balls, but obviously we were going to tell them nothing. This would then lead to the Cybermen being planted, but they were easily wiped out by all of us because we were a lot stronger than what we were in canon, and Yamcha even survived here, so that tells you how much stronger we actually were. Nappa would then be the one to step up and fight, and have all intentions of fighting the strongest of the group, which in this case was me. So Nappa would charge full speed towards me, but I was able to guard myself, blocking Nappa's fist. Nappa goes for another punch, but I duck his punch, kneeing Nappa right in the stomach. Vegeta speaks up, telling Nappa to quit playing around, however I laugh. Even if he went all out, the outcome would be no different, Vegeta. This pisses Nappa off, causing him to rush in at me. Nappa's punch connects. Nappa was getting stronger as he fought, so I had to stay on my toes. Nappa and I began trading blows, but eventually my techniques end up helping me out and getting the upper hand by a good bit. I let Nappa hit me, knocking me backwards, creating some space, which I used to blind Nappa with a solar flare, then using this moment as I drive my fist right under Nappa's jaw, causing him to go back flying. Quickly, I then charge up a new blast, well, an improved blast, that is, a Kamehameha times 5. That'll release, nailing Nappa almost directly on, and this does some quite good damage, and by quite good damage, I mean the blast actually swallows Nappa whole and leaves nothing but dust. Yeah, I may have got a little carried away there, but at the same time, my life was on the line there, and for one, Vegeta was going to do it anyway, and two, Nappa being dead sooner is likely more of a favor for the Dragon team because we have a better chance of staying alive. However, I couldn't worry about what I just did. Instead, I had to worry about Vegeta, who now had me in his sights because I was the one that beat Nappa. He comes dashing at me full speeds, and I wasn't able to dodge his attack, so he ends up hitting me straight in the jaw, knocking me out. I mean, out cold. Luckily, the Z Fighters were all there, fresh, and they stepped in to help me. Because if not, I'm telling you, there would be no Dragonstar right now. Piccolo and Gohan are acting as the main hitters, with Tenshinhan and Krillin guarding their backs, and whenever the birds quit flying around my head, I actually jump in right beside Gohan and Piccolo. Vegeta would start to get overwhelmed by the number games, and in a way, this wasn't a good thing because Vegeta's ki starts to rise and his punches were getting heavier with every punch that he'd thrown. Eventually, he actually manages to knock us all back, and at this point, I was exhausted. I've been fighting with no breaks all the way since Nappa arrived, and I was just panting, trying to catch my breath, and when Vegeta screams for the Dragon Balls, nobody would answer. Really, nobody could. We were all drained, but Vegeta wasn't happy with that. So he tucked his hands back, shooting a Gallic gun. The blast was shot right in the direction of Gohan, and Gohan was more of a fighter, but Vegeta was way too strong at this point, so there was no way that Gohan could actually dodge his attack. So like in canon, Piccolo would actually just barely jump in front of the blast, saving Gohan. Vegeta, though, gives nobody time to react to this, and his hand starts to charge another blast, until suddenly something latches to the prince's back, and obviously this was Chatsu sacrificing himself with a technique that he used against Nappa. However, if it didn't work against Nappa, it's not going to work against Vegeta either. This would then enrage Tien, who would then charge right at Vegeta, but Vegeta easily dodges Tien's attack, grabbing him by the hand, tossing him into the air, and using him and turning him into some good old dirty fireworks. Everyone on the sidelines were stunned, including Goku, who had finally arrived off of Snake Way. Goku, seeing the death of one of his friends, makes him fight way more seriously than what he would in canon. And Vegeta would read Goku's power level scaling that it was now over 10,000 thanks to some previous training that Goku had done. Vegeta isn't impressed, however, stating that his statue as an elite and that he is better than Goku. However, Goku gives the same speech, and honestly the fight typically plays out as normal as it does in canon. Vegeta and Goku's Kaioken would be a great fight that it was, but I, from the sidelines, decided to make sure that it couldn't get any further, shooting off the Destructo Disc, slicing off the tail of Vegeta. Quickly, I throw my guard up, knowing that Vegeta would be coming at me after he changes targets because I just shot off his tail. Luckily for me, though, Goku took this as a moment of Vegeta taking his eyes off the fight and uses it to strike, doing the same combination that he did to Nappa on Vegeta. The only difference was Vegeta's back doesn't break here. Goku then gives Vegeta the option to actually leave the planet, which Vegeta does, vowing to get his revenge one day.
You're going to regret this. You won't have another miracle to save you next time. Enjoy this time, because it's all you have left.
This then leads to Goku helping everyone out, as well as Yajirobe, who arrives right after the fight is over. We all start saying what we need to do, as we couldn't wish back our friends. Except, the only thing about it is, we could wish back our friends. And I decide to actually state the idea that why don't we just go to Piccolo's home planet? After a bit of questioning of if they would have Dragon Balls or not, Goku would then get the idea of actually going to ask Mr. Popo if he knew anything about their home planet. And Mr. Popo would actually inform them that their home planet would be called Namek, and that they should be able to have Dragon Balls as well. As for the rest of us, Bulma came by, taking us to the hospital, and out of the crew, well, I'm definitely the most banged up, and I'll be recovering for the longest amount of time. This does mean a different group of people will actually be setting off to Namek. In Kami's old ship, it will be Bulma, Goku, Gohan, and Krillin, and Yamcha would go, but Bulma argues that there isn't enough room for him, so their issues typically play out as they do in canon. However, after healing, I wasn't just going to stay on Earth. No, I was going to Namek. I started talking to Mr. Breves about his spaceship and possibly turning it into a gravity ship. And with my help, me and Dr. Breves actually get the ship ready to go. I planned on training with Goku, but he already took off, so thinking of what I had to do when it finally hits me. If not Goku, why not his brother Raditz? I fly over to Master Roshi's place, grabbing up Raditz, who was still remaining in that jelly jar, and I take him to the gravity ship, shutting the door and releasing Raditz. And this is where the fun actually begins in this story. And if you guys want to find out how that fun plays out, you better subscribe to the channel so you can see when part 6 of What If Dragonstar Was in Dragon Ball comes out, because you're going to have to wait. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. Also, comment what you want to see in part 6, because your comments definitely impact what I do in the next parts. I don't know if you guys know that, but they definitely do. With that said, Dragonstar Productions is out.
Congratulations, champ.
you made it to the end of the video. Now, if you hit that subscription button, that thumbs up button, and that bell icon, you won't catch a dynamite kick.